Welcome to Hour 2 of the Midwest #1 weekly motorsports show, Track Talk,
All right,
on the RacinBoys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. Once again, here's Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Hour number 2 of Track Talk still brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. Check them out at McCarthyChevrolet.com. Get great deals on certified used cars right now. $79.95. Silverados, all kinds of options. I'm a kind of an Equinox guy. Hopefully you've seen my Equinox and the success that we've had with it. 193,000 miles on a 2008 and haven't had a problem with it. Great car. Chevrolet making the best vehicles in the industry right now. The best American-made car. Check them out at McCarthyChevrolet.com, or better yet, go out to Olathe, just off of Rawhide Road in Santa Fe. See Brian Schaefer. Purchase a car today. Look at all the great options that they have out there. Cars getting better gas mileage. Hey, Kirk, did I tell you that I'm down here in Little Rock and gas is $2.95 a gallon?
No.
How about that?
Under $3 a gallon?
Under
Wow.
$3. Always in an election year, you know it?
Yep.
Never fails. Always happens.
It's,
$2.95 a gallon, though. That's pretty good, isn't it, really?
Are you saying that the president has control over gas prices?
No, I'm saying that people try to, well, that's what happens in election years, right? Doesn't the gas always go down in an election year?
Well, if OPEC has a stake in the contest this fall, I guess that would be the case. But I'm not a conspiracy theorist like that. I don't think it has anything to do with anything. It just.
Oh, you don't think the government would manipulate
I don't
the system
think I don't think the United States government has any control over it. I think OPEC does. We're along for the ride, my friend.
I don't know. I think that hidden agendas all over the place when it comes to politics, Kirk. So you just never say never what kind of backroom deals are being done.
If there's hidden,
but I like it. I filled up yesterday, $2.95 a gallon. That's a good thing. Diesel is down. Did you notice, Kirk, that diesel is cheaper than gasoline right now in Kansas City? It was about 5 cents cheaper.
That's amazing. You know, I kind of go along with.
I took a picture with my phone at Quick Trip before I left of the diesel unleaded sign, and it was cheaper, the diesel. And I posted, "What's wrong with this picture?"
Well,
that hasn't happened for years.
What's wrong with this picture is all of a sudden, the RacinBoys bus is not going out on this West Coast trip, and you say diesel is cheaper than gasoline?
It's not going to be cheaper out there in the Northwest, bud. I can tell you right now that diesel's going to be high out there. You know how they are about their, you get up in the Northwest, there's a bunch of tree-hugging people up there that definitely want, they don't want their fumes anymore, gas fumes, diesel fumes, and, they got gasoline taxed up out there in the Northwest.
I know why you're not taking the bus out there. You were wilted in that Speedway trip down there where you got hot. It was hot in that bus, wasn't it?
When it's 105 degrees, the air conditioner just doesn't keep up as good as it should. I mean, it's like that with any bus. I found out mine's not any different than a lot of these big old long buses. They're a little difficult to keep when you're blowing down the highway like that. They're a little difficult to keep cool down. Still, it wasn't so bad. It's really the drive home was the biggest issue.
Yeah,
trying to come home 1,812 miles in 3 days by yourself in a motorhome wasn't appealing to me.
And there's just a few days between events from Santa Maria, California, which is in Southern California, to Knoxville. You've got it was Sunday night, July 29th, you're at Santa Maria. And if you look at the map
really
of California,
Southern California, it's about Midway, California. Yeah.
And it's out there on the coast, pretty close, isn't it? I mean, you're out there in the Pacific Ocean.
You got to drive across California before you can even get out of the state.
Yeah, and then you got to get to Knoxville.
Not that wide of a state.
You got to get to Knoxville. Yeah. Thursday night, they start the ASCS Knoxville Nationals. So that's what you're looking at. And also there's another trip that you're probably not going to be a part of this program on the 28th of July because you got to go from, Chico, California to Hanford? And that's about, 500 miles or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, with the 2-hour difference, too. Yeah, you might have a different co-host.
So you were looking at those kinds of trips before you made the decision not to take the bus out there.
I will tell you, though, I sure, I was having a lot of fun beating up down the road with the motorhome. I went to more races this year so far with the bus than anything. But I sure like going to these Marriotts. Nice and cool. Got all the amenities. I'm in a Residence Inn right now. Got a full kitchen, 1-bedroom thing here going on. I missed my Marriotts, and I'm kind of glad. Enjoyed that, being able to run 80 mile an hour all day as well. The bus, you just lumber along about 65, 70 at the most. You got to kind of take it easy. The wind whips you around. It felt like it was a hop, skip, and a jump getting down here when I was driving the car compared to the last time I came down to Little Rock in the bus. So, yeah, it's good. I kind of like it. Hey, Kirk.
Yes, sir.
I was talking to Todd during the commercial break, and if anybody wants to chime in that's on the chat room, we'll hang out with you. This is one of our a little more relaxed hours that we do here, hour number 2. I heard there was another ruckus out at Lakeside last night. What was that all about?
I must have been down in the pits when that was going on. I showed up late. I showed up late to Lakeside in time for the A mains because I had some other projects I had to work on. So Todd may know more than I do. I'm not aware of what's going on.
Turn up your mic.
Yeah,
Todd,
there was.
Are you there?
There was a little bit
Turn
of.
Turn your mic up a little more, bud.
There was a little bit of.
Turn it down.
There was a little bit of a ruckus out there last night. I don't know. Me and Kirk were walking through the pits, and we saw some excitement going on the track. And he said, "What was going on?" I said, "I don't know." I ran up to the wall there, and they were having their usual altercation, yelling back and forth. I apologize. I don't know the two drivers. All I know is the police department was running through the pits, and people were being held back. And I think I saw quite a bit of yellow officials on four-wheel drive or ATVs moving in and out, trying to stop whatever was getting ready to go on down there. It was on the second pit road back there, so I think it might have been factory stock.
Let me ask you guys something.
That must have been when I was in the pits. I did not see any of it or know about it.
Well, let me ask you this. Is the television bringing out the worst of some of the people out there, you think? You remember when we did the Heartland Thunder thing? That, people, they changed it a little bit. They weren't themselves during Heartland Thunder. I think it's safe to say that the cameras changed them a little bit when the lights went on.
Do
you think that when the lights are going on out at Lakeside, it's making people want to get a little more at it? Because, to be honest with you, they've always had a good handle on confrontation out there and having these kind of moments. They've always been able to nip it pretty quick. You think that people are showboating maybe a little bit for the cameras?
Oh, I don't know about that. Kind of makes you wonder. The incident last week involving the 3 top Grand National drivers,
that's what I'm saying.
Gary Donaldson and Kelby Ostrander and Darren Kling all involved in the situation. If Gary Donaldson had it in his mind, hey, this is on TV, I got a chance to pay back on I'm not sure that was going through. I can't read people's minds about that, but I'd like to think not, that they're thinking about stuff like that. When, this is not on TV, I'll be quiet now. I can't imagine that it gets down to that.
I think Clint Brown might have said it best here on the chat room. Tempers matching the temperature.
Yeah, I think the hot weather certainly brings the tempers to a boil. At least that's been my experience at these racetracks. Whenever the temperature gets hot, you see a lot of this kind of thing.
And you know what? As long as nobody gets hurt, I don't mind the theatrics that go on. I think that drives people to want to go to the racetrack and see what happens. I know when I was a kid going to Riverside, heck, the show half the time was up in the grandstands.
Now I was in the pits last night grabbing some sound for the RacinBoys TV show. So I was not in the stands or around where I saw this incident that Todd was talking about. But if anybody else witnessed it or knows what's going on, give us a call. You see the numbers on the screen. Fill us in on what happened, because I apologize. I didn't know anything about this incident. I knew that Todd said that there was something going on, but like I say, I was down in the pits, so I didn't see anything of what was going on.
Did they get our RacinBoys TV segment run last night, Kirk?
They did.
Yeah?
RacinBoys
come
TV
off
was
okay?
on. Yes, it did. So we're going to have a
last night
fresh
on
new program next Friday night that we're working on right now.
This is the program that they had a little issue with. It wasn't on our end.
Right.
What was it, 2 weeks ago?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, they didn't have a right button pushed, but we had the show over there, and they had a little problem with it. This was the show. Who was on last night's show, Kirk?
Well, Cody Agler was in the opening segment, and then when that's the show, we had Tom Charles and Kerry Davis, and
That's
also
Nick Newton.
the big B-Mod driver, Nick Newton.
No pun intended there, big. You weren't taking a shot at his size, were you?
No, I was talking in terms of success out on the racetrack.
Oh.
He didn't win last night. Big night for Mike Higley in the B-Mod division. It grabbed the lead there in the last
he's a
couple
racer,
of classes.
man.
Yeah.
He's a good racer. Yeah. I'd like to see him in an A-Mod someday. I think Mike Higley would be a fantastic A-Mod racer if he had his opportunity. Now, I believe he's run some A-Mod races, but it seems like the B-Mod's really, really been good to him. He's won, I don't know how many races he's won. He's won a handful this year, I believe. So,
hey, there was another
Higley
big race.
knows how to get it done.
I was going to say, we were talking about Lakeside Speedway for the last couple of hours, what great racing there was out there, but I understand the show was equally as good at Valley Speedway. They had the open wheel night out there. Valley Sprints, Cody Baker, who's had a great week. He won in the Lucas Oil ASCAS National Tour down at Lucas Oil Speedway last Saturday night. Shocked everybody. And then he turns around and wins in a thrilling race last night at Valley Speedway, beats Bob Thoman, who's about 30 years his senior, and picks up another win. So good run by the 19-year-old Cody Baker, who's had the best week of his career and certainly the biggest win of his career, winning on the National ASCS Tour last Saturday night.
Wins usually breed wins, and he needed that in the worst way. He was ninth going into the Warrior Region points when they raced down at Lucas Oil Speedway. I think he moved up to fifth right now. He's 200, maybe 30-some points, something like that, out of the lead. He's right behind Jay Russell. I think Jonathan Cornell and Kyle Bellum are first and second. Kyle Bellum right on top of Jonathan Cornell, I think 6 points. I don't have that in front of me, but from what I remember last night when I looked it up. So good battle there in the ASCS Warrior region, and good job by Cody Baker. He had a little luck in his end. I'm not going to say he was fast. He had the car fast enough to win. He showed that in the heat race, passed some really good cars, but good enough for him. He started up front, and the track took rubber. I was talking to some of the guys last night down here at Little Rock, and they said that the track started taking rubber about lap 5 of the A main, and that, boy, you hated to see that with Lucas Oil Speedway, because you could see a really, really good race there, or sometimes this happens, and I think they're going to work on trying to get that track a little bit better. I'm sure Dan Robinson and his crew again are going to try to have that track a little bit better. I know a lot of the drivers were bending Forrest Lucas's ear afterwards. We had a kind of an adult environment down there in the bar. A bunch of us were hanging out, and Forrest was open to anything that anybody wanted to talk to him about. And I know that Wayne Johnson and several other people were there saying, you got to do something with this track if we're going to come down here and race. And I think a lot of the drivers thought that the non-wing cars laid down some rubber, and that's probably what caused the track to take rubber early in the A main of the National Tour. So, but still, I had a good time down there. Cody Baker getting that first National Tour win. Brian Brown was second. Kyle Bellum was third. No National Tour drivers on the podium, and only 3 of the National Tour drivers finished in the top 10. So it's that was pretty non-typical race that we saw down at Lucas Oil Speedway last week.
And congratulations to John Helm, who won down at Lucas Oil Speedway last Saturday night in the WAR non-wing divisions. That's certainly his biggest win, and he's been around a while. He's 56 years old. And so he normally races on Friday nights out here at Valley Speedway, and big win for John Helm. I went down to Double X Speedway on Sunday night. Folks, if you haven't been to Double X Speedway, this takes you back in time. This is one of my favorite places to go, Scott. It's a great bull ring of a racetrack, and they do a great job down there. Always has great crowds on Sunday nights, and They had the ASCS Speedway Motors Warrior Region down there on Sunday night, and big win for Jonathan Cornell, who continues to do very well in this ASCS Warrior Region, as you mentioned, right up to the top of the points. And they had the non-wing cars down there as well. Lanny Carpenter driving the Hockett car. Jack Hockett right down there in Victory Circle, and Lanny Carpenter coming up with a big win down there. That was pretty special. Of course, you always think about Jesse Hockett every time you roll into Double X Speedway. So had a great time down there on Sunday night.
Do they still work the Jesse Hockett Double X Speedway down there? Is his name
I didn't
still?
see it on the sign. When they first when Jesse first passed away, they renamed the racetrack and they had it on the sign out front. I remember being down there, Jesse Hockett Double X Speedway, but I didn't see it on the sign, so I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Wow.
But anyway, it's for everybody that goes to the races at Double X Speedway. Whether Jesse's name is on the racetrack or not, you can't help but think of Jesse Hockett when you drive in there.
As he told Cody Baker in your interview that you did with him, Kirk, that Jesse Hockett said if you can win there, you can win anywhere. So
yeah.
That was a pretty big influence for Cody Baker to start running down there, because quite honestly, you can't go down there and race with new tires. I know a lot of the guys that go run a lot of used tires that just don't pay enough. I think it's $600 to win or something like that. Not much for sprint cars, but they have passionate fans down there for sure.
I think you got to give Jesse, even to this day, the image and the reputation of the racetrack is very high, largely because Jesse loved that racetrack and he was there. He gave it the name, even though his name is not on it, as you drive in. Right. But I think his reputation of going down there, winning races, and really talking it up around the country has really elevated the stature of Double X Speedway, and I think forever, in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know if you said that Jonathan Cornell won, because Racer X66 said Kirk Cornell didn't win. He spun with 2 to go. Kyle Bellum, we know.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Kyle Bellum.
Just misspoke.
I misspoke.
Right.
Kyle Bellum was the winner. And,
Kyle Bellum won that race after a podium finish himself on Saturday night. So, yeah, I see Dan on there. I believe that's Dan Robinson on the chat room right now. And I'm with you, Dan. You know what? We all learn from that. And I think that going out there, working the bottom a little bit would have been good.
It's different, for sprint cars than it is for the late models, because, for the Show Me 100, the track was in excellent condition. So I'm not sure it's largely because of the tires, the bigger tires on the sprint cars, the downforce of the wings that creates a little bit different conditions for the racetrack than the late models. I don't know that, but I can just tell you the Show Me 100, the track was in excellent condition.
I watched that on television. Was that a fantastic broadcast?
Yeah.
Man,
great racing.
What exposure for that racetrack. I mean, the racing was good. There was action right down to the end. A well-produced production. It just couldn't be any better. I tell you, Lucas Oil Productions, they do such a great job when they put these shows together. Really second to none as far as I'm concerned. When you're talking about grassroots-type motorsports, they get it over there at Lucas Oil Productions.
Yeah,
so,
the Chili Bowl
I think really
was great too.
Yeah, I think really what happened, though, because the sprint cars, without having the downforce of the wing, they buzz the tires, they spin them a little bit more. I think that was probably the culprit of the reason the rubber went down as early as it did. But I know for a fact that nobody's going to sit on their hands and just say, oh, well, I know you guys are always going to take a look at it and try to make everything better. And we had a great time down there. It was the last race of 7 in 9 days for us when we were out there on the Speed Week swing, and it was so much fun. That has to be a tradition for us to end up that swing at Lucas Oil Speedway, because we all got together afterwards. We were all hanging out together. Nobody was in a real hurry to get out of there. Just the atmosphere and everything that goes with it. I love that place, and it was really a great place for us all to kind of let our hair down after the races were over with the Diamond Bar upstairs, and as nice as it is. And Forrest hung out. And let me tell you something about Forrest Lucas. if you've not really had a chance to hang out with Forrest Lucas, one of the good guys. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because obviously Lucas Oil is a big sponsor of ours, and we appreciate everything they do with us. Bob Patterson, everybody out in California, they've been really good to the Racing Boys. But Forrest Lucas is this humble and down-to-earth guy, hung out with everybody up there in the Diamond Bar, just hung out and talked and let everybody bend his ear, talked about the Protect for the Harvest. Protect the Harvest is a big deal for Forrest. He is just a genuine guy, and man, every time I hang around him, I get a little more attached to him. You know what? And hanging out with him after the races down there the other night made such an impression with me. It was like he wasn't too good to hang out with everybody. He decided he's going to hang there until we closed it down. Then he went home. Yeah. How many guys in his position would do that, Kirk, really?
Yeah, he's the same guy, I'm sure, that, when he was driving a truck, back in the old days before he came up with the Lucas Oil products and after everything that's happened in his life, I'm sure he's the same guy he's always been. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I think Clint Brown said it just as well as anybody. If you didn't know who he was, you would swear he's just another fan in the grandstands. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is.
The image I'll always have at Oil Speedway is Lucas back there flipping hamburgers back in the concession area. He's not, he'll do anything. He'll take on any kind of a task at the racetrack. He's there to help out. Charlotte down there selling tickets and Forrest back there flipping hamburgers. That was what I saw when they first opened up the racetrack.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. I promise you, I know for a fact that they're going to put their biggest effort for the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial. And let me just say one thing. I've heard some people that aren't really in tune with what that race is all about, and a lot of people call it the Jesse Hockett Memorial. We cannot forget Daniel McMillan he's equal share on the billing to that race. So
Jesse's
don't forget that's the Jesse Hockett Daniel
friend,
McMillan,
crew chief, and everything.
Right. They're racing up in heaven somewhere right now, I guarantee it, feeding a wheel to somebody. So let's make sure we always recognize Daniel McMillan as well, because he is the original memorial race was just the Daniel McMillan Memorial. So unfortunately, after losing Jesse, we had to add his name to it. But let's make sure we keep Daniel's name alive and well.